Well, first thing this morning, I called David Crisafulli and congratulated him on being elected Queensland's Premier. Being Premier of this state has been the greatest honour of my life, and it is an honour that he has now earned. I congratulated him on a great campaign and on his effort to become our state's Premier. I assured him that all appropriate steps had been taken to ensure a very smooth transition to the new government. He will right now be experiencing what I saw in 2015, which is just how professional our public service is at managing a transition of government. It was something that genuinely impressed me then. I've just come from the Governor's House, where I've formally tendered my resignation as the state's Premier, and it was great to have a cup of tea with her and Professor Nemo as well. The result last night was much better than expected, but clearly nowhere near sufficient for a Labor victory. I'm very proud of the campaign that I ran and the government that I've led these last 10 months, but at the end of the day, clearly Queenslanders for some time have wanted to see change of government, and that's what the result of yesterday's election will be. From here, the task of all of our Labor MPs who have been successful is to rebuild our party and prepare to return to government at the next election and to hold the current government to account. The next few steps of that process are pretty logical. We need to see the count concluded and determine who is in our caucus, the makeup of our caucus. Then our caucus will meet and elect our office bearers. I'll remain the leader of the party until at least that point in time, and I would like to, if they choose to support me, I would like to stay on as Labor's leader beyond then, but ultimately that is a decision for them. From there, our team will need to do the work of reconnecting with Queenslanders, particularly regional Queenslanders who clearly we have lost our connection with. We will need to listen to them and hear from them. We will need to listen to them and hear from them precisely what they want to see us do different. And then based on that, we will build over the next 4 years a program to take to the next election. I'm happy to take a few questions, but I'm sure you'll all understand my desire to get to the pub.
Your MPs endorsed you last night on multiple networks to remain on as leader. Do you see a challenge?
Well, I want to pay our MPs the respect of allowing them to get elected first. So once we see precisely the makeup of the caucus, I will ask them for their support. No, I think that's unlikely, and we've obviously been talking throughout the morning, but I won't speak for him. I'll let him speak for himself. Well, I think over the last 10 months, I've demonstrated the kind of leader I can be of our party, and I think I'm the person best placed to maintain the unity that we've seen throughout that period. But as I said, I'm not taking anything for granted, and I will let our caucus members decide who leads them.
Did you have wait 10 minutes yesterday? Should you have waited 10 minutes yesterday before giving the speech? Should you have considered that?
When I saw what the tally was first thing this morning, on waking up first thing this morning, it was clear to me that we had been defeated and that the LNP had a majority. At the point in time that I spoke last night, it looked likely that they were going to fall short of that majority. The numbers, as you know, they changed throughout the night. I had a large group of supporters there who I was keen to speak to. You're right, if I'd waited another hour, the results probably would have been clearer, but there was no malice in that process. I simply wanted to wait until Queenslanders' votes had been counted.
Who would be your deputy? Would you like to see Cameron Dick, or would you back Sean Penton?
Well, as I've said, these are all decisions for the caucus, and the caucus hasn't even been elected yet. We don't know the makeup of the caucus yet, but we do know that there are more MPs, more Labor MPs than we expected, and that's as a result of what I think was a very strong campaign.
Have you given any advice for
Well, 10 months is obviously a clear runway, but also obviously Queenslanders for some time had wanted to see change. I sought to project change to them, but at the end of the day, that hasn't been enough to convince them to stick with Labor. We have elected more MPs than we thought we would, and that's a good result and a result of that good campaign. But Queenslanders have spoken, and Queenslanders don't get it wrong.
Stephen, any advice for the new Premier?
Look, I've spoken to many people, including both of them.
Stephen, any advice?
I think that's unlikely. I've told them that I would like to stay, but I'll let them speak for themselves, and I want to see our caucus elected before we get too far ahead of ourselves.
Any advice for the new Premier?
Exceed your expectations. What were your expectations going into last night?
Well, you've seen the polls pretty consistently for a long time now. They predicted a very bad result. The fact that many MPs have held their seats is credit to them, but also I think a credit to the campaign that we ran. Now, I've outlined what I think the next steps for Labor are, and I'm keen to be a part of that process.
There's a number of shredding trucks we've seen driving into London William Strip this morning. Do you know what they're doing there?
I don't, but given the expectations, Tim, I don't think there's any sense of panic. There was a pretty clear expectation that was going to happen.
Stephen, any advice?
David Crisafulli today, to be honest, to do what he said he's going to do.
Oh, well, I wish him all the best. That's what I said when I spoke to him. I wished him all the best. He has earned this victory. But also, our job as the opposition is to hold him and the LNP to account. They have made a variety of statements during this campaign, and we intend holding them to account for those.
You've managed to,
and you spoke about some of the results out in the regions. Do you think protecting those inner city seats come at the expense of regional seats and some of those seats around the ring of Brisbane like Thomastown and Climate?
No, I don't think so. We campaigned to win all of the seats we held, and you can tell that from the campaign that I ran. Clearly, we were starting from further behind in places like Townsville, but they're places that have historically voted Labor, and so I do think that we can reconnect with them, listen to them, develop plans that appeal to them, and that's what I think Labor should do over these next 4 years.
Stephen, any advice for the new Premier?
You've been successful in defending off the Greens, Connell and Cooper, and winning back South Brisbane. It looks potentially may well go blue. What do you think is behind that collapse in the Greens?
Well, I don't want to get too far into political commentary. It's, I think, reasonable for me to express opinions about what's happened with Labor. I think those wider results are more for you guys to discuss. I've always been of the view that even though I'm a keen environmentalist, I've always been of the view that the best way to deliver results on things like the environment is through governing, and that's why I've never supported the Greens.
Stephen, any advice? Stephen, any advice?
Why wait to call David Crisafulli this morning? It was quite evident last night in the results.
Well, as I've indicated at the point in time when I stood up to make that speech, it looked like they were going to fall short of a majority. At some points, well short of a majority, and so at that point in time, I determined to wait and see them get to that majority point. You're right. If I'd waited longer, then the result got clearer. As soon as the result was clear, I phoned him first thing this morning.
Stephen, any advice for the new Premier?
Do you think your results have been better if you've got
Lydia, you've all spent a lot of time trying to get me to criticise Anastasia, and I don't intend to.
Any advice for the new Premier?
It really has to be the last one.
How will you feel your feelings? What's your process?
Sorry?
How are you going to feel your feelings? That's hard.
We have a long held tradition of gathering for lunch on the day after elections, and I'll be doing that.
Any advice from the new Premier?
Sorry? It's a pretty wide invite list.
Any advice?
Let this man get to the pub.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Look,
Thanks,
this wasn't
everyone.
a.
Thank you.
Yeah. I am. I've loved this campaign. I've really enjoyed it. I'm a bit sad that it's over, but at the end of the day, this was a better result than many people expected. At the same time, though, I've been in the job for 10 years now and worked with a lot of colleagues, and that's all changing. So obviously that comes with a bit of sadness.
What beer are you having?
I'll have a Forex bitter off the wood, I think, Tim.
Great, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thanks everyone.